Life is a rope that swings through hope. It doesn't allow us to go back to fix the wrongs of the past, but it allows us to live each day better than the last. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dr. Tapaswini's Corner, and that's me, and I work as a head and neck cancer surgeon at Fortis Hospital, Delhi. Life and time are world's two best teachers. On one hand, life teaches us to make good use of time, while time teaches us the value of life. Nature many a time sets mighty obstacles in the path, but those who face it with patience, self-confidence, always reach the peak of triumph. Such is the story of our childhood cancer survivor, Saksham Katyar. Saksham was a student of Mount Carmel School, Delhi, and is currently pursuing integrated BBA and MBA course from IIM Rohtak. He does a lot of creative content writing for various organizations and also works as a campus ambassador for collegedunia.com at the IIM Rohtak. When asked about his motto in life, he wants to revolutionize the health industry in a manner that health facilities become easily accessible to all. That's a great thought, Saksham. And welcome, Saksham, to the program. It's indeed a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for allowing me to have this platform. I'm so glad to talk to so many people, and I'm sure I'll be helpful and motivational to them.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, Saksham, you were just 12 years old when you got diagnosed with medulloblastoma. Well, this happens to be the most common brain cancer in children. So, do you think you had an inkling about what this disease, cancer, was all about? And what did it actually call in for?
Medulloblastoma was something I didn't know about, but yes, I had a certain idea about the cancer because I'm a student of 21st century and the technology and everything has taken over and we're always on the internet knowing stuff and we're willing to know a lot of things. So yeah, I had an idea about cancer, but in a very positive manner that I had a research that cancer is very curable and people need to be very informative about it. So, and also when I went to hospital, the first case was my brain tumor. I had a surgery for brain tumor. So when I went to hospital, there were some boards around the hospital suggesting what are the symptoms for brain tumor. So I
Okay.
just told my mom, I feel the same symptoms were with me. Do I have brain tumor? So later I was told, yeah, that's actually what it is. So that's how I came to know about it. And later, yeah, internet was a very help for me.
But it's, this disease is always a nightmare. Nightmare to the patient, nightmare to the family members. But then it's an experience. And,
Yeah, it's
every experience that we have in our lives, that impacts the structure of our brain also. The modern human brain is extensively shaped by the environment, and it evolves as we learn and adapts to various circumstances and surroundings. So as I hear from you, you like one of those smart kids. And so was Google of any help to you? Did you explore the internet and figure out what medulloblastoma, the name sounds, great, medulloblastoma. So did you figure out what was it all about?
Well, at that time, I used to hear when you Google about something like a disease or something illness, and even a cough, if you search for on Google, may take you to extreme ends. So I thought of not going on Google for such a big thing. And I actually, the medical industry has gone a really good heights and trusting
Great.
on doctors and doctors' recommendations would be really great because Google can some way times dilute you in some other ways, which is actually not needed. And that can get you into negative motivation sometimes.
I mean, that comes from a real intelligent kid, huh? Who understands a half-baked knowledge is more dangerous. Right? Correct? So, what were the symptoms that you had?
Around 6 months before my diagnosis, a mild headache started on the back of my head. I used to tell my parents about it, but a mild headache is usually treated with a painkiller like a crocin. We generally do that. Even as
Okay.
sometimes fever used to came, but similarly we used paracetamol. So after some days, I started to get weak, lethargic. My parents started to complain, Saksham, you're not being so active. You're kind of lazy. You're not willing to do anything. My complexion started got dark, and
Mhm.
with some time I could not eat much. I used to vomit a lot, and the pain got very, very severe. So yeah, when we
Okay.
went to a family doctor, he asked us to do an MRI, and then we got to know about it.
So how long was this headache that you said?
6 months prior, it started with very low intensity, but with
Okay.
time, it got really, really harsh.
Mm-hmm. So was there episodes of nausea, vomiting, and all that?
Yeah,
You
a lot
also.
of vomit.
Mm-hmm.
I was losing a lot of weight by then. All the energy
Okay.
was, there was no willingness to even wake up from my bed or all that. And I'm not that guy. Usually I'm very active. I mean, willing to take
Mm-hmm.
participate in all the activities and all that.
Okay, okay. So that was the signal which the body was showing to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
So it
Yes, ma'am.
wasn't the usual headache that a child gets, you know. We often attribute to weakening eyesights, but this was something which really alarmed and was raising an alarm. But if you look at the human body, it's so beautifully engineered. It never lies. You know, whenever things go wrong in the machinery, it keeps giving warning signals, which we see as signs and symptoms. In our medical dictionary, we call it as signs and symptoms. And it's equated to something like an antivirus in the computer, which keeps a check. And then if the warnings of the antivirus is not taken care of, the entire system crashes. So also in the human body, so whenever there is something abnormal which happens, the body does show and invariably manifests with signs and symptoms. And that's why we create a lot of awareness programs to catch these diseases early, because the early that you catch them, better is the treatment and also is the prognosis. So what in your dictionary makes this disease, cancer, a dreadful one?
Well, I won't say that dreadful is the word in my dictionary,
Okay.
because cancer is just a disease, and because it's a general idea in the in the environment, the cancer is equal to death. If I straight cut put it
Yes.
out, and what I hear it from others, but that's not the actual scenario how it is. When you get to know about it, you have to be informative. I'll just quote an incident. One day I was just standing on on a road, and I was helping a guy with cycle, and he got to know that I had cancer, and he told me, you haven't died yet. So I was like, I mean, there's a lot of knowledge and there is a lot of awareness that still needs to go around, and people need to actually know about it, that cancer still does not actually means death.
Yeah.
Cancer is actually a phase, and if you are actively willing to fight it, you'll come out victorious.
So to many, it's the word which creates a lot of fear, and it's like an end of a tunnel, dark tunnel, and it spells, most of the time it spells a death sentence. So did cancer make you more spiritual, and did you feel that your prayers to the Almighty were being answered? How was it?
Well, though my treatment could not fundamentally change my perspective, because I'll again quote that I'm a 21st century guy and I believe in practical and science stuff a lot. But yes,
Mhm.
once when I used to not believe in this stuff and stand against it, today I'm happy to accept it, and I agree with people who follow these traditions. And I'm very, very sure that all the people close to me, my parents, my relatives who are praying all the time 24/7 for me, that those prayers worked for me really well, and that was half of the treatment that worked for me.
Yeah. And that's why we say, God always leads us to where we need to be and not where we want to be. But when we engage ourselves in spiritual activities like prayers, meditation, how does it work? It actually helps us to reduce our mental agitation and creates a lot of serenity. So a calm mind is able to think much better than a mind which is turbulent. Any motivational speaker, whom you adore, admire, who you think has really made a lot of positive impact when you were fighting this disease?
Uh, there is no particular speaker I could tell you about, but there is one thing that I follow: the quality of reading anything or listening to anything, the way
Good.
of perceiving things. I mean, I just see you randomly go on Facebook or Instagram, post these days because these are very active, and what you take out from every statement is what actually makes the difference. Even a motivational speaker talking positive for thousands and for hours and hours won't make a difference if you can't perceive the positive out of it. And if you even
Exactly.
take the positive out of even a neutral statement, that can actually make a huge difference. So you should learn to take the positive and actually learn the deep what this thing is trying to tell you, and that learn it from there.
Very true, very true. But then to be honest, the fight against cancer, you have to fight it individually. So whosoever is the patient has to fight it. But how do these talks help is primarily they infuse a lot of positivity. To many, it gives a lot of positive boost and it gives them courage to fight against the odds in life. And it was really wonderful to read your WhatsApp quote, which is, I just happened to open the your name in the mobile, and it said, "The world actually looks beautiful when there's stability inside." So that's what I was trying to say. A calm mind can think much better. So that's really true. And that's the fact that you endorse, and that's the thought which I really appreciated. So when you equate mind with water, whenever it's turbulent, it's very difficult to see. But when it's calm, everything becomes clear. So what were the side effects of the treatment? The side effects, you underwent surgery, you had chemotherapy, you had radiation. So you had a taste of every modality of treatment that we do for cancer surgeries. So what were the side effects, and do the side effects really hurt you even now, or now they are bygones?
Side effects were basically the basic side effects that we hear about. Basically, my treatment was virtually painless. I didn't have any pain at any moment because these
Mhm.
therapies are usually not painful. It's just the after effects that affect you. Like if you're talking about radiation therapy, I used to have nauseated feelings a lot of time. I
Okay.
lost my hair, but that's not nothing to be very fearful and very sad about. Even after chemotherapy, I could not eat a lot of salt or spicy food, but
Mhm.
that's all right because I got to taste so many new items that came from milk, which I didn't know earlier. And yes, even it was very positive. Yeah, some side effects like still are that I can't eat food very fast now. So when I go to
Okay.
restaurant with my friends are really faster than me and they do it very fast.
Okay. So these effects and these problems, that little problems that you are continuing to face, is something which doesn't bother you anymore. So you have taken it as part of your life. There was something which I read in the story that you sent about me, and it said, when you looked at the discharge summary, first of all, how come you got the medical file with you? Such a small child flipping through the discharge summary. And he said that you were labeled as a high risk patient. Well, that's a term which it's important for the medical professions. How did it and why should it impact you so much? You did not want to be labeled as a high risk patient. Why?
Uh, Ma'am, I told the doctors to use these words among themselves because the discharge summary was usually given to me. And according to me, cancer is not just a disease to be fought with medicines. It's half with medicines and half with willpower. And the doctors had to fight with their medicines. I had to fight with my willpower. And
Great.
I don't need anything that goes against my willpower. And I told them, you just keep these words with you, all the technical words with yourselves. I'll just stay positive and I'll come out victorious. I don't need high risk or anything telling me that I can't do it.
And that's really wonderful. So, how did your doctors react to it? They probably
So
thought,
actually,
they must have thought, how come this little child has interpreted what this word means? And look what he's trying to tell us. But I'm sure, as a doctor, as a professional, we also understand what these terminologies can actually do to the psyche of our patients. So, when you underwent such a rigorous treatment, Do you think it made you realize the value of life?
Ma'am, it just not made me realize the value of life. It changed the whole perspective. I mean, the
Mhm.
life has turned so positive. The optimism have taken over my life. I can't tell you. I mean, I'll just quote an incident. I'm in a college, my first batch, and there was few students from the second batch willing to join the college, and they inquired me about something from college. After some discussion for a week, they told me, if anything, Bhaiya, I've learned from you, it is at least optimism and how to look at things, how to look positively. I mean, I don't leave a moment. I don't have a moment in my life to give it for sadness because it's very short. It's very short, and every moment is so precious that even giving one moment to a negative thought is a waste of life. So that's very important. That's really important.
Really, it's such a beautiful thought that you've given to us and to all the listeners, you know. And it says, cancer no doubt puts you to test, but it brings the best in you. So never give up, and life is worth living, and there is life after cancer.
I'll say a much better life.
Ah. So you, if I look at your performance, your school performance, the exams that you underwent, you did them with all your might and you came out with such beautiful marks and flying colors. How did you do it? Even though there were so many losses in your school teachings, and I'm sure that was a great thing that you were able to make it and you scored the highest. Tell us some tips and tricks.
To be honest, ma'am, I'm a very challenging guy. I mean, I take challenges very seriously. I'll tell you something. My parents used to do one thing, and I'm sure everybody in this audience must have experienced this. They used to quote me students when they saw it in newspapers. Newspapers usually publish, this school topper has come out with this mark, this college toppers have come out with this mark. So my parents expected me to be doing that good. They were like,
Wow.
ah, Saksham, you also do this, please, we'll be proud. So I took it quite seriously, and God have actually blessed me with a very sharp mind, and I can actually grab things very fast. So yes, a lot of sincerity and just willing acceptance that at the end of the day, whatever you do, you'll have to score good. So basically, regular working and all that works for me.
So very apt to say, I mean, this thing is very apt for you also. It says the potential within you was greater than the obstacles which was around you. And it's the determination of your thoughts which became your guiding light, right? And God's blessings and wishes, and you could do the power, the concentration, the focus that you could do despite all the treatment hazards and all the treatment issues, you could make it to the top. So during this journey, there must have been many inspiring moments, and there might have been a lot of sad moments. Can you share this with our listeners?
My journey has been a very, very inspiring journey. I mean, starting from a hospital, my Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Hospital, everyone over there was such a jolly nature. You couldn't see an hospital being so happy. A patient coming with a sad mind would get happy coming. I mean, every Dr. Gauri, my main doctor, their team, they were so positive at all times. I mean, I'll still tell you, I'm still connected to them. There's a group called ASH. I am a co-leader of them that work for Rajiv Gandhi and for cancer awareness for the people. Also, I got a little, I won't say a little, a lot closer to my parents. I mean, that was my personal time, and the war they fought with me, we fought it together, and I got so close to them. That's inspired me a lot, that if they can do all that for me, well, I have a lot of potential to do a lot of things. I won't say a lot of sad things happened to me. Yes,
Mhm.
there was something like missing out with friends, missing out on school, eating spicy food. But yeah, I know that's gonna come back very soon. It's just a phase. So it was a very positive journey for me.
Good, good, good. So life is all about moving on. You know, you, in spite of all the odds, you have to move on. And it is too short to start a day with the broken pieces of tomorrow. So one should look forward to what makes one stronger and also what makes one complete. But it was something which I was also surprised that you used to do counseling of other parents and other patients. Such a young child who himself is a sufferer of cancer, doing counseling of others, that's really wonderful. So how
Uh,
and what were the thoughts that used to come into your mind when you were also trying to battle and you wanted to instill a lot of inspiration and courage, give courage to the other children?
Ma'am, today I'm in a management field work studying BBA in IIM Rohtak, and I chose this field because I felt I have some qualities in me for doing this. I always felt I had leadership skills in me, and during the treatment, it was just that I was always so positive about it, that and just this thought came into my mind that all the psychotherapists and all the people who are counseling other people, their advice may not work enough that a cancer patient would help other cancer patient. I could be
Mhm.
more impactful to them, and my words could just help them out a lot. I could just hear them mourning and being sad about it, looking at the other side of the coin, which was not so positive, and I had to show them the side which they should look upon. I mean, still, if you even if you're in a treatment, there's no way, I mean, just going negative about it, because if you're going negative about it, you're losing your war, and the war is actually very harsh. If you losing half the size, the medicines can't work alone, so you have to give a positive expect.
Correct, correct, absolutely correct. But Saksham, tell me, are there some moments when you feel low?
Yes, ma'am, there are. There are actually some. But
So what do you
I
do?
recovered. I I recovered them with my parents. I'm telling you, I'm really, really close to my parents. When I feel low, I do one thing. I keep my hand on my mother's shoulder and I give her a tight hug, and I'll wait for some time, and my mind is all settled. That's
Wow.
what, just one more thing I do,
Mhm.
because I just told you the rule that I don't think there's a single moment in my life to give it up for negative thoughts. And I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna get through it after 5 or 10 minutes, even I'm feeling low. So why even give 5 or 10 minutes to it? I mean, just put a refresh button in your mind, click it, and you're all okay.
Good, nice cue to other patients, right? But then it's so true that everything in life doesn't go according to our expectations, right? And that's why one needs to drop expectations and just go and run with the flow of life. Now, if you were to rewind your childhood days, so if we ask you to rewind your childhood days, what is that you would ask from God to give you?
I miss all the crazy things I used to do. I mean, not so very particular, not so accepted by everyone. I mean, as a child, you're not very careful about your environment, how other people will think about you. What the,
Mhm.
I mean, we're very pretentious these days, caring about what
Correct.
people standing on my right would do think about me, and on my left would think about me. But that's actually not very needed, because you may not even know the person. So I want to be a carefree person, the way I used to be, doing all the naughty stuff and all that. Because today I actually judge a lot. I mean, the maturity that might have come to me, thinking people doing wrong, or I mean, thinking that they might be lacking awareness. But sometimes I feel I need to be carefree and go with the wind.
So there are certain memories, scarred memories, which is there in you. So do you think these scarred memories of the past in any way have impacted your well-being?
Well, actually, yes, ma'am. Because I give this credit to my parents taking care of me, how they brought me up, the way they brought me up, keeping giving me all the best of the education, best of the values, respect that I give to others these days, and I'm praised about it. I mean, starting from the very nursery to all my treatment, I till date, the way I'm nurtured, the way they talk to me, everything has taken a lot of care. And you should also learn to respect everyone. And that is very well taught to me by my parents. And that is very important.
Yeah, that's very correct, you know. But it's also very correct that one should not go back and try to repair the past, because that's impossible. But we must be prepared to construct the future, which is more predictable. So we should always remember all the blessings that we've all got instead of the problems, because problems seem more because we count on them, we measure them, and we analyze them every day. But when we count our blessings, we realize that these blessings will outnumber our problems. So one should keep faith and keep going. What is the message that you would like to give to children who are struggling to fight this disease?
There's a very important message I like to actually take, and not just children. I'll tell it to everyone who has been going through disease. Well, cancer is not just a disease; it's actually a phase. It's a revolutionary phase in your life, and there are two ways that you can take it. You can actually go the sad way, just mourn through the way, and even after that you'll come out to be very safe and sound, victorious. But if you go through the journey with a very positive mind, I mean, your life is going to get so much better. Your perspective is going to get so much positive. Make your treatment fun. I used to have fun with nurses. I mean, make this time the best of the time. If you're willing to get a leave, I mean, you're getting off from your busy life. I mean, take it that perspective. Just a treatment that is not going to lead you to any pain. This treatment is going to be virtually painless. So just go through the journey with a very positive mind and see how the world changes for you in a very positive manner.
Wonderful, wonderful to hear that from you, Saksham. I also recollect reading a little liner which you said that when you were diagnosed with this cancer, you would not think about the disease, but you thought that there is a break from the exams, and so you would love to have some time with yourself and spend some time home watching the television and so on and so forth. And what really has taken you wonderfully through the journey is, I gauge, is your optimism. And it really shows through your talk, through all the thoughts that you have. And it's just wonderful talking to you, Saksham. Thank you so much for being with us today on this show. And so we all realize that the experiences in our lives act as gifts. They are like wake-up calls if we realize them. All these painful and often debilitating experiences have great things to teach us. But in the end, the will of God will never lead us where the grace of God cannot keep us. So honor your appointment with life. Thank you once again. Thank you, Saksham. Thank you to all the listeners. See you next week in another episode with another cancer survivor. Till then, goodbye.